If an assassination is not posted on the internet, did it really happen?
Life is a funny old broad. She keeps you guessing.
Hello, everybody. I know that that's a funny thing I just started with, that if an assassination is not posted on the internet, did it really happen? But you could also ask the question, and if a post about the intent to commit an assassination is not posted, is it really ever going to happen? The reason I ask is because this guy that killed Charlie Kirk, uh, he not only had posted before the event that he was going to do it, but afterwards. Did he post before? He posted things about it needed to be done, and I think on that was from Facebook, and maybe on his Discord, he was really going to go to town on it. But after he did it, he posted, "It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. I'm surrendering through a share friend in a few moments." This is what he wrote. At any point in time, did Mr. Robinson ever think past the actual event and what would happen after that? A lot of people post things, vile, vile things about good people, and that wishing them dead, listing ways they would kill them. It's terrible, terrible stuff. TikTok is loaded with it. Let's see what else. Facebook has some of that on it. Instagram, Instagram probably has some stuff on it too. Then you have your Discords and your Reddits and all that sort of thing, where people really just get into some bad, bad things. They all remind me of teenage girls when their hormones first hit. They're all in their head and they're all in their feeling. Uh, and everything makes sense, and mommy is evil, and daddy, they don't love me no more. And Well, that's not the case. Of course, they get to be about 20, 25, and most of them now go, I can't believe how stupid I acted. But they had somebody there to stop them, and that was called the parents. And sure, if you have weak parents, then you're going to end up getting into major trouble. But did Mr. Robinson never once give thought? Did he never imagine in his mind? Where else can you imagine? Nowhere. You always imagine in your mind. Wow. So that was a redundant statement. Did he ever once imagine the bullet leaving his gun, hitting Charlie Kirk falling over dead, and then what would happen after that? He knew he had to get away. He had that planned. How much further did he think? Well, he tried to ditch his weapon, hide it, so that he could get off campus and he'd go back for it later or send somebody for it. But that didn't work out too good, did it? Place was locked down tighter than tighter than a drum. So that didn't work out too good. And then somebody recognized, somebody had made a long shot. I don't know if it was through a drone or if it was through some sort of a camera that keeps security camera, and somebody just managed to blow it up so you could see what they look like. So it's like, oh my God, that's my son. Or, oh my God, that's my grandson. Or whoever it is said, oh my God, I know him. He never thought any further than just the getting away. He never thought about how many people were going to be after him. He never thought about the news coverage because he lives in this little bubble of his social media world where he wasn't known outside it. Was he known outside it anywhere except for maybe his job or if he was at school or his church or something like that? I don't think so. But he was a star, you see, on social media to a certain group of people. So what was his intention? Well, obviously, I think at the core of it was he wanted to sacrifice himself on behalf of a larger ideal. He just chose the wrong one. He chose the wrong ideal. And, when you hang around people, you start thinking like them. And if they're not good thinkers, it's not going to work out good at all. But let's get, I know his wife, Erica, Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica, has forgiven Tyler Robinson for what he did, although I'm sure she wants him held responsible for his crime. That she does, but she's forgiven him. And that reminds me kind of, I think if Charlie Kirk had known the bullet was coming, he would have been like Stephen in, I think it's Acts, the book of Acts. I need to look that up, don't I? You know what? I'm going to pause this real quick and I'm going to look it up and I'll be back. So if Charlie Kirk had known that the murderer was standing in front of him, was going to shoot him and this sort of thing, there was nothing he could do about it, he would have probably said something along the lines of Stephen, which was in Acts. Acts 7, chapter 7, verse 60, he said, do not charge the sin against them. And they stoned him to death. And it was because he was speaking truth. He was speaking truth. And that's what Charlie was doing. Now, in the chapter 8, verse 1, there was a man standing nearby who was trained and very educated. He was not only a Jewish citizen, he was a Roman citizen. He had a dual citizenship. And that was a man by the name of Saul. He was standing there approving of the murder of Stephen and holding the coats of those throwing the stones or the robes of the ones throwing the stones. He, for himself, approved of the murder. So you can see that there are those throwing the stones, doing the murder. There are those standing back saying, yay, go get them. Woohoo, you done good. But then in Acts 22:20, by this time, the road to Damascus, remember when Saul was walking down it, he was heading off to go kill him some more Christians. That's what he was going to do. And he went blind. He couldn't see anymore. And that is, Saul, what are you doing? What are you doing? And that was Jesus speaking to him. Jesus was dead. Saul hated the Christians. He hated Christ. How dare these people say things against my religion, my truth, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, we know that how he was blind, where these scales came over his eyes. And then someone was sent from a Christian was sent by one of the angels to go get Saul and bring him into his house and tell him what's going on. And then when the scales fell from his eyes and he could see again, Paul now knew that he was on the wrong side of history. He decided to get on the right side of history, and he became the apostle to the nations. Now, Paul admitted that he was standing there holding the robes of those who were stoning Stephen to death. Stephen being the first martyr, if I remember correctly, and I think I do. And he himself said, I approved of the murder. I approved of it. But now he knew what was right. So now let's bring the Stephen, the Pauls, the ones doing the killing, Paul who was organizing things, and let's apply it to what happened at Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk would be Stephen. Stephen is out there preaching, saying the truth about what's actually human nature and the truth about all this stuff. That's what Charlie was doing. Okay? Then we have a whole bunch of people mad that he's saying things they don't agree with. Right. Going to kill him. I want to kill him. I want to kill him. You're going to kill him? I don't know. You're going to kill him or are you going to go? You know what? I'll do it, said Tyler. I think his name was Tyler. Yep. Tyler Robinson. I'll do it. And he went and did it. Now, I can well imagine Charlie, if he had known the bullet was coming, would have said something along the lines of what Jesus said as he was dying on the torture stake. He would have said, how did he say it? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Charlie would have said that right before he died. Forgive them, forgive him, for he knows not what he does. Now, does that mean that they should not pay for their crime? Yes, they should pay for their crime. But does it mean that because the crime is committed against someone who truly is telling the truth and not trying to hurt anybody but trying to help, that they can't themselves become, I don't want to use the word saved. Saved is not the word I want. But can they not themselves have a change of heart to accept that which is true and feel real remorse for what they've done, not for what it did to them because they're locked up, but because for what it did to an innocent person and those who believed like him. So when Erica Kirk said she forgave Tyler Robinson, that's a very big thing to do because she had a right to it. She was directly affected by this murder. And those who claim that they are sorry Charlie died, you know, what happened was, I think it was the next day, there was some people who had gathered around in small groups, and they were maybe praying or singing or talking about Charlie Kirk, and some dumb, stupid idiot who thought he was doing the right thing rode a bicycle through these groups and said, Charlie Kirk is stupid, I'm glad he's dead, blah, 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 and other stupid things like that. Well, you know what happened? Some folks snatched him off that bicycle and proceeded to beat the crap fire out of him. They were wrong to do that. He was merely speaking an opinion. Maybe it was a stupid opinion. Maybe he should have given it some thought. But he was speaking an opinion. And he was just screaming. You don't snatch somebody off a bike for telling their opinion about something. Well, those that did it, they shouldn't have done that. Did the young fella need to have some sense beat into him? Maybe so. But that was not the time nor the place, because it's not going to help move the truth forward. And that's what you have to do, is think about that. Jesus Christ said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. These people that killed Jesus himself said, forgive them, they know not what they do. And I bet some of those Roman soldiers that were dealing with this situation and were part of nailing him, through his hands and his feet. I bet some of them became Christians later because Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." It was prophesied that Jesus would have to die. He knew it had to be done. So that was a fulfillment of prophecy. Fine. But the people who torture Christians, and this is happening now. And think about Nigeria, other places in Africa where the ISIS gangs and the Islamists are just ripping these people limb from limb, torturing them, burning them, raping them. Yeah, they need to pay for their crimes. And yes, you can fight back against them if they're attacking you directly. But what if later these people, hearing truth, and somewhere their conscience is hurting them, and they don't know why, and they hear truth, and it gets through their brain and into their heart, and they feel this mighty remorse for what they've done? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So don't demonize those who are screaming at you. You can point out what they're doing that is wrong. You can correct their thinking. That's different from saying there's no hope for them. We don't know. There's only one unforgivable sin, and that is the sin against the Holy Spirit. And only God and the person that commits that sin knows what that is. It's not described anywhere in the Bible. Jesus just said it was the sin against the Holy Spirit. That's unforgivable. Everything else can be forgiven if a person changes their minds and their hearts and is remorseful and starts doing good. So that's what I want to say to all you folks out there who are like, yeah, we're gonna make sure nobody talks about Jesse like that. They come in front of me, I'm gonna smack them down. No, Charlie even wouldn't do that. He'd say, well, tell me why. Tell me why I'm wrong. Let me see if I understand your point of view. And that's what we need to do with others. Okay, well, let's see. I think that's all I need to cover today. And I think, oh my goodness, that is the end of my, that's the end of my short. Although it's not too short, is it? Goodness, I didn't realize I'd gone 18 minutes.
She treats you right. She surprises you right at the end. Yeah, life is a funny old broad.
You know what? I forgot to hit end recording. So, okay, bye.